All right, the poor little 500 has been back here waiting patiently to get the tire fixed because we got that little sprayer on it and we really need to spray fence lines. It's been way overdue. Stuff around here is growing out of hand. So it's time to get after this project right after this. Welcome back. If you haven't seen my videos before, I'm Rouse the Oliver Man. This is the Oliver 500, which is the same as a David Brown 880, I think. I can't remember the number. But made in England. It's a cute little horse. But ever since I've owned it, it has suffered from flat tire of sadness. This tire would keep going down all the time. And I just lived with it. But the other day it got a lot worse. So now we're going to have to fix it. Now, we're back here where it's very warm because the fan is pointed the other way. There's no room to turn it around, so we're going to have to just suffer. We're going to hope the jack does what it's supposed to. Hope we have enough lifting height here. All right. I think we need to go up a little more. I had to get some air movement back here or I was about to pass away, so yeah. Plus that gives you a nice place to sit without vibration, I think. You might still have vibration, but I think this is a pretty good little tire. We might find something that tells us otherwise, but my plan is to just put a tube in and go again. Unless we find a horrendous something or other in it. Go. Get in there. Lots of tread. Oh, come on. You know what Ross didn't do? I bet you he didn't bring the air check. Why would he not bring that when he knew he was going to do a tire? Let me grab that. Oh, jeez. Are you still there? I don't know where my end is at that I was using. I'm hoping this one will go. Just for curious sake, let's see where the hole is. If we do that, we might have a chance of, you know, figuring out why it went flat. Oh. Well, the hole is right there by the valve stem. Okay. So I guess I'm wondering if it just got ran flat. Well, but then it still have to have been flat first for that to happen. It is kind of okay. I wasn't going to take it all the way off, but it is kind of. I didn't bring the hammer over here either. It's one of those days. One of those days. There we go. You're a big boy, you don't need a hammer. I mean, it's pretty clean, except for that inner rib down in there. And I think that deserves a little grindstoning, because that little bit could be what ate it up. Which means I need to get all my rigging to get able to get the grinder over here, but it's right over here. It's really inconvenient not having electric in the building, so I really need to get back on that project, but I just haven't had time. Let's see if we can get over here to it. That's pretty good. All right. Well, I really wanted to wrap this up now, but I can't hardly leave it that way. I don't have any black paint, so we're going to try this Ferguson gray that I had a little bit left over of. I could brush paint it, but it's not bad enough to need that. I usually only do that on the ones that are really, I don't know. I don't feel like getting a brush out. I don't really like using an odd color either, but do what you got to do. You know? It's like I said, it's not, in this case, I'm not using this paint to smooth it as much as I am just to keep what I just ground off from rusting, and then getting right back to the way that it was when it started. So, kind of dumb, I know, that we're not going to get this finished, but we're doing the best we can in the 100-degree weather. I just don't have a lot of motivation when it's super hot like this. I mean, I'm sweating at nighttime, and that's ridiculous. I think that'll do. We'll let the little feller sit till tomorrow, and we'll put this back on. I mean, we're not going to go spraying tonight anyway anymore, but this tomorrow is the first day of, there's like a meeting, and then school starts the next day. So then our schedule's going to be all screwed up again, because we're going to have to always quit what we're doing in the afternoon to go drive children around. So yeah, I don't enjoy that. However, I do enjoy my new bus, so driver's air conditioning I think will be nice. So anyway, I'm going to call this half here, and I'll bring you back whenever I am ready to mount this tire on again. Consequently, while I'm sitting here thinking about it, the little 500 diesel, they made a 500 gas, and this is an early one because it's got 5-bolt front axle. Then they went to a later 500, and it was available diesel only, and it had 6-lug front. So if you have a 6-lug one, it's later, and if you have a 5-lug, it could have been diesel or gas. It's before that serial number break. Whatever it is, you'll have to look it up on the internet. There's still things I want to do to this little feller. I just haven't got there yet. I mean, I eventually want to take that nasty gray toolbox off, and I'll put on a Oliver style toolbox like I did to Freddy, you know. I think I got one right there. I could swap that on. So that'll be in the works at some point. And yeah, I mean, clean up that motor a little bit. It's kind of horrendous dirty. It's not really leaking profusely. There goes a mouse. But what it is doing is it's just covered with grime, and that needs washed off and cleaned up. And if the paint's gone, I'll probably meadow green it a little bit. I don't know where to stop on this though, you know. It's a pretty good original, but at the same rate it's not. It had a rough go. Somebody, the second owner, I would say, left her sit outside, or left it in a lean-to where half of it got worse than the other. And so there's just some things on it that it ought to be repainted, but at the same rate it shouldn't, because this one is very, very original. More original than even some of the experts have ever seen. It's still got the original muffler, which they had never knew about, you know, because he was describing to me on the phone how to get it off of there, and I said, no, mine's not made that way. Mine's made like in the parts book. And so I don't think anybody's got one of those anymore. And there's just things about it, you know. It still had the battery box intact, no rot at all. And it still had the top link. It still had the little PTO cover. It's a very original little tractor. I didn't know that it even existed around here, but it was in the next county over. I don't know how many they would have sold, but I do know from people I've talked to that, you know, they said, well, when Dad was going to go buy a 550, this thing was way cheaper, so he bought one of these. So that's the story of how a lot of them got sold. I guess they could buy the tractor and all the implements cheaper than they could buy just the tractor, as in a 550. So that's why they were here. You know, people don't understand why the foreign tractors, well, a lot of it was price. You know, they could import them and sell them cheaper than they could tool up and make one. And then also another feature that I heard that everybody wanted, and why they did it, was differential lock. All the little foreign tractors had differential lock, and they said people wanted that. So instead of figuring out how to do it on the 550, they just bought these and sold them, you know. 500 and 600. I'd like to find a 600. I've seen several for sale, but when you find them and then having enough in your wallet is two different things at different times, so that doesn't always happen. But I'd like to have the big brother to this, and I wouldn't be opposed to finding a gas one of these either, because that would show pretty well the whole spectrum of these three different models that you could have got: a diesel, a gas, and then I suppose if we wanted to really get technical, we could get a late 500 diesel with the 6-lug axle. Then there would be 4 different ones we could have. But right now, if I just found a 600, I think that would be neat to have as a mate to this. You know, you see them, but they're usually never close around here, and I'm not really into travel, as we have learned many times. I have kind of a radius where I will go, and that is as far as I care to go. So someday maybe, but today we'll just be glad with this one. All right, next day. That paint really darkens up after it dries. It looked like it was a lot lighter when it went on. But that is neither here nor there. Let's mount our tire. I suppose for good measure, we should double check it. Make sure there's nothing in there. A little bit of dirt I should probably address. But just rub your hand around there. Make sure it doesn't have a thorn sticking through it, or you know, something that make bad time. You know what I mean? I think it's settled a little overnight. We need to probably raise it up slightly. Maybe we didn't have it up high enough, I don't know. we're at. I think we're good though. Now, I need to get a rim hole bushing, because this came with the smaller size. There's two sizes of valve stem basically, and this one is much more narrow than, for example, this one. So they make a thing for that to adapt, and I guess I'll have to get one because this is not the one I thought it was. All right. So I'm sure we've talked about this before, but this little doodad fits on there, and then it makes it fit the larger size tire hole, rim hole, I guess you would want to say, since it is in fact a rim hole bushing. These narrow tires are kind of a trick to get stuff. Once again, I probably should have got that tool from the viewer. That little cable job. I'm just not used to that yet. I'm not used to having that, so I never think about it. Well, I heard that thud and I didn't realize it was you. So that's nice of me. Knocked the camera all to pieces. Also, the tire tool, apparently. Come on. You pain in the canoes. Hot. I'm just not motivated to do much. It is still hot. My plan here is get it up on this tire and then probably drive it over to Dad's and put water in it. He's got a much more gooder well than mine as far as in the summertime. I don't want to run mine dry, and he's got an everlasting one for some reason. It never goes dry. Did I get the seated all the way around? I think I did. That's a pretty good old tire if it just wasn't so dry cracked, you know. I'm betting it's not that like they just put it on and the tractor just sat. Let's let the air out so that the tube can find its happy place. That's really the only reason we do that. That doesn't make sense. You know, we forced the tire up onto the outer lip of the rim, and now we deflate it, and so in theory the tire should kind of stay up there, and then the rim can contract, or the tube can contract, and then find its happy place. We had trouble with the tire gauge the other day, so I don't know if it's going to be active. Well, in true fashion again. I don't know what happened to that thing. Maybe I put it away. I have this little one, which I guess that's probably accurate. Try it again. Shows about 24. You can just tell how cheaply made that one is. Accurate. Just under 35. Probably good. Put this down. Sure. Whilst we have this air thing out, perhaps we ought to air this tire up too, as it looks kind of flat. That wasn't very good. Yeah, we're good. Another thing we should probably do, see how much diesel fuel's in this, because I don't know that I've ever put any in. Ooh, that's pretty low. It would probably run forever on that. But do we trust it? Well, kind of wish I had a little bit more. What we can do is we can go to the 4180, which is sitting almost full, minus 10 gallons I stole to get the 4150 home. And if I can get my little shaker siphon hose, I can pull it right next to this sucker and just siphons them in. So that might be what we do. Let's see here. It's been a while, but it fires right up every time. Such a little sweetheart. Let's get, what do we want to do? Well, we got to get this Fiat out of the way. I really ought to use this one. My spraying, and the only reason I say that is because it's got foot throttle. We'll leave this sit here for now. so we can get those other tractors in here. I love the little Fiats though. Those are worlds better tractors than that David Brown. It's still cute though, but it's just not quite as refined as the Fiats. All right, in a sad turn of events I'd rather not discuss. If you are sailing along in your little David Brown tractor and not paying attention, you will drop your wand and run it over, thus destroying it, and then having to get your cheapo spare that you bought, you know, from the last time you sprayed and you didn't have one. So yeah, that's great. Didn't even get to use it one time before the trouble set in. I like my spot sprayer in spot pattern, so this time we'll clip it in the approved holder instead of, yeah, taking for granted that we could actually, you know, do what we're supposed to. Oops, didn't want to do that. All right, so get some fuel in it and then go get some water, and then maybe tonight or this evening I can spray. That's what I'm getting at. Get some of my place back under control after the fair. All right, so I got fuel in it. However, we learned another important lesson today, which is if your hose isn't long enough and you grab another piece of hose to slip over the end to make it longer, make sure that that piece of hose is also fuel rated, because if not, it will shortly turn into nothing and it will start leaking in 10 million places, and then you will have fuel everywhere. But we got it, so we're gonna go put water in it and then hopefully call it a day, because nothing seems to be going our way here. After running over that spray wand, the day is quickly deteriorating, so it's probably best to quit while we're ahead. But you never get to see the little 500 on the road, so that's what we're gonna do. It's not a fast horse, but it's a cute horse. Well, we had a successful run, and that's what we were after. The little feller hasn't been out in a while, so that was a good exercise for it. I'm gonna fill my tank with chemical and go around and spray fences, so hopefully I can reclaim some of this wilderness back. But I really like this little tractor, and it's hard to believe that the first time it came available I passed on it, but yeah. So anyway, I guess we'll leave this one here, and I'll see you in the next one.